Well, hello there, beautiful. I want to share with you an insight that's come up for me today in the preparation of the biggest event that I've ever done in my whole life that's going to happen in less than 2 months. It's going to be an online summit called Embodied Business Leadership. And I'm not going to talk too much more about the event itself, even though it's going to be a very, very potent event, and I can't wait to share more with you once it's ready. But I want to share with you an insight from this that I think is super relevant for people who have a deep dedication to embodiment, to following what feels true for you, to not just do things blindly that other people are doing, and embodiment-oriented people who are into business and growing their business. And what you will face as you do that is that it's not like there's the one strategy that you have to apply, but there are certain strategies that have proven themselves to be effective. So for example, one very effective strategy that most people use who have an online business is to launch a free offer or a low-priced offer every 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. And I want to share with you some of the pitfalls that I see people falling into when it comes to the meeting point between strategy and embodiment, and kind of help you see how you can find a way to apply strategies that have been proven to generally work for a lot of people in a way that actually works for you. So one pitfall is that people look for the best strategy of like, what is the most effective thing to do? What is the fastest way to grow my business? What is the one thing that I should be selling? Blah, blah, blah. This kind of like, oh, I'll look on the outside, like, what is the thing? Tell me what I need to do, which is externalizing your authority to something on the external and being like, okay, I need to find the objectively right thing that I then can just blindly follow. And because it has worked for other people, it's gonna work for me. And you can very easily lose yourself in that because what works for other people might not work for you. What the statistically best thing to do might be for the general population might not be what actually you need to be doing, right? So whenever we have this like purely outside orientation of like, this is the strategy to apply, we're gonna lose touch with, well, what feels true for me, what feels right. Now, the other extreme that I certainly have fallen into, and I can see people in my communities fall into as well, is this kind of like, I'm going to do everything entirely differently to how other people do it, right? So to give you an example of this, like I struggled for a long time to call myself a business coach because I didn't like what business coaches stand for. I don't resonate with most business coaches, and I don't want to be associated with those people. So I was like, I'm not one of them. So I'm not going to call myself a business coach, even though what I do is business coaching, right? And the liberation in this for me was like, well, let me reclaim the word business coach and make it mine and actually make it uniquely fit to what it is that I offer and understand that, yeah, it's going to be very different to what most other business coaches are doing out there. So this is the other pitfall is like, I'm not going to use any strategy and anything that anyone else is doing because my thing is different. And it doesn't come from this like grounded, spacious place. It comes from this like, from spite, from like, oh, I'm not going to do it like the others. And that's usually not a super helpful place either, because again, there is a place for these strategies. And I want to share with you how this has come up in a conversation with a friend of mine as I'm preparing this online summit. So generally there are like very clear unwritten rules of how a summit goes, what it is that you sell, what it is that you provide for free, and so on and so forth. And people have been doing summits for 10, 15 years, and there's a reason they continue doing it, because it's a great way to grow your audience, to connect to other people in your field, and all that fun stuff. I'm going to do some things differently than what you're being taught in how to set up a summit. So in most summits, for example, the conversations are available for 24 hours. And that just doesn't feel right to me. Like, I'm like, I don't like this sense of scarcity of like, okay, you get like this tiny thing, and if you want more, you have to buy something. So for example, I'm going to make all conversations of the summit available for the whole 5 days of the summit. And then there are a couple of other places where I'm like internally exploring of like, okay, so this is how this strategy works of a summit. And then checking what feels true for me in this and what do I want to adapt. And the moment I'm in this place, this is something very creative because I'm not in a place of like the strategy's wrong and I'm going to do everything entirely differently, but I'm also not blindly following what someone else is saying of how a summit is supposed to work. And I feel like this is where embodied business leadership, the thing that I teach when I work with people, comes into play, where it's like, yes, I can take inspiration from the outside and I can hear what works and maybe why it works and why people have been doing it this way. And then I'm still invited to check for myself, does that feel true to me? Do I actually want to apply this strategy in this unique way? Or do I actually feel called to adapt something? And again, the adaptation is not coming from a place of strategies suck, I'm going to do everything differently from what I've been told, but actually being like, here's what feels true to me in this present moment. Because if I don't do that, if I don't allow myself to follow what feels joyful, exciting, and creative to me, my aliveness is just going to dry up while I'm following some sort of strategy that is supposed to be good. And if you are someone who cares about embodiment and being connected and attuned with yourself, then you will not last very long because you will get very frustrated when you do things that don't really feel fully aligned. So for me, this is the synthesis. Like, yeah, we take strategy in. We understand that there's a reason that certain patterns of doing things are not entirely random, that there's a good reason why a lot of people are repeating them, but also we don't follow them blindly. We're not like, I'm not allowed to deviate because someone else told me that this is how you're supposed to run your business or run an online summit. And I encourage you to play with that yourself, to take in information, to take in inspiration that you're getting from other people, but then to run it through your system and be like, cool, how can I make this truly my own? Because again, if you don't do that, you're going to run dry. Your creativity and your joy and your authenticity is going to get lost. And what I see a lot is you might even succeed really big time by using some sort of strategy that you've been told that's effective. And even if you succeed, you're going to feel kind of shitty because you lost touch with yourself in the process. And we don't want that, because business success is only true business success when it's the consequence of you truly following what feels true and joyful for you. That is what I stand for. You can disagree with me on this, but I assume that if you're in my world that you would agree with this as well. So that's what I wanted to share with you on embodiment and strategy. Super curious to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this, do give this a like. I appreciate your support. I'm sending you so much love. May you have the most beautiful rest of your day, and I shall talk to you very soon.